Hello everyone, Michael Irwin back again with some more streaming talk, and today we're going to talk about OBS. Now OBS is a free open source tool that's available for Windows and Mac, and it stands for Online Broadcaster Software. And what it does is it allows you to do some pretty cool stuff to set up your stream to look quite professional without needing to do a lot of extra work. And it's software that's used by a lot of professional streamers and amateurs as well. And it, again, will give a nice professional touch to what we're trying to do here. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to jump right into it. And we've got OBS downloaded and installed here. And first, provide a quick overview. Up at the top, we've got what's called the preview, the projector screen. And so this is what's currently being displayed on our stream. Our now, we have nothing because we haven't done anything yet. Down the bottom left, we have what are called scenes, and these are the different layouts that we might have for our stream. Sources are going to be the different sources, and we can stack sources and do some really cool stuff, and we'll jump into that in just a minute. Audio mixer, if we've got audio going through this, you can see the different levels and adjust those levels as needed. And scene transitions, for the most part, I just leave this as the default with fade of about 300 milliseconds. So as we start playing with OBS, we'll want to think about what are the different layouts that we might have or want for our stream. Probably the first thing that we're going to want is just a full screen camera. So let's make a scene, call that full screen camera. And now I need to add a source. When I hit the plus for the sources, I get lots of different options. And in order to get a camera input, I'm going to select video capture device. And I'm going to create a new one. So in this case, I'm going to just use my personal webcam because I'm not at the church. I don't have our camera set up there. So I'm just going to call this webcam input. Hit OK. And for the device, I'm going to select my webcam here. And there we go. We see me here. And then I can scale it up and down as big or as small as I want it to be. And now I've got my source set up here. Cool. Now, what else can I do with this? Now, imagine if I wanted to make this a little more professional looking, and I want to put the name of the person at the bottom of the screen. Well, I can do that. I can go down to the bottom, and let's add another source. And I'm going to add text, and I'll put speaker name, and I'll type in my name, so Michael Irwin. I'm personally not a fan of the Helvetica font, so I like to change that, and I personally use one that's called Open Sans. I've installed it on my machine here, but feel free to use whatever you want. And I hit OK, and then I can resize this however I want. And I'm just going to drag this, kind of eyeball it first, and I'll provide another tip on how you can make sure things are centered. OBS doesn't have really a good way to snap to grid or center align things, so there's a couple things that we can do to make that work a little bit easier. So I'll put my name there. Now, since this is against my jacket that I'm wearing right now, it stands out pretty well. But if I jump over to the side a little bit, or let's see, it does get a little bit harder to see when it's against a light background. So one of the things that we can do is I can add an image, and I'll have a link to these resources down in the description. And I'm just going to call this the black bar. Okay. And I'm going to go to my desktop and go to resources and the bottom bar. And basically what this is just a black bar that's got a little bit of a opacity gradient to it. And you can decide how big or small you want it. And maybe I'll put it about there. And now I just need to put my speaker title on top. And there we go. And so I can have a nice little gradient here, and feel free to make your own if you want to, whatever. And then if I want to hide these, great. I can do that and have them come and go as you wish. Now, if I wanted to, I could make another scene that has the title on it and then another one that doesn't. So for example, I can duplicate this, and I can say full screen camera with title. And on this other one, maybe we just hide it. Oops, wrong one there. And so then I can smoothly transition between those. Okay. That's certainly a way we can do it. I'll talk about another way that you can kind of set up the scenes and transition between them a little bit easier in a moment. So for now, I'm actually going to go ahead and delete that scene, and we'll talk about a better way to do it. Okay. One of the other things that we do at our unit, since we've got a live piano player, we want to have the hymn lyrics displayed as well as maybe a small little picture of the person that's playing the piano. And so I'm going to call this, I'm just going to call it split screen for right now, and it'll make sense why in a minute. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get my video input back up there because we want to still display our piano player. And normally what we do there is once the piano starts, we pan the camera over to the piano player. And I'm going to make them a little bit smaller. And then what I'm also going to do is add a window capture for hymn lyrics. Okay. And what I've got over here is a PowerPoint that's running just in windowed mode. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to capture this window and display it as just another source here. Okay. So if I select my window of Microsoft PowerPoint, it shows up really large. And now I can make that a little bit smaller and just have to kind of play around with it to figure out the right sizes that you want. And maybe I'll lay it out there, and I want my webcam to be on top. And so cool. Now you'll notice that it's got the little window bar at the top. What I can do is I can right click and go to transform and edit transform, and I can say I want to crop the top, I don't know, it'll probably be about 30-40 pixels, something like that. Okay. And maybe I need just a little bit more. Sometimes it's hard to see when there's that green bar at the top, so maybe let's just go 42. Okay, maybe I need another one or two, but anyways, you see how that can work out. All right, so that's pretty cool. Now I've got this kind of picture-in-picture mode going on, and what's cool is if I jump back over to PowerPoint and if I advance the slide here, you'll see it advancing the slides there. So this was one of the hymns that we sang yesterday, and now as the piano player is playing, I can just switch over to PowerPoint, and if I advance the slides here, it's advancing them for the stream as well. Pretty cool. Now, and of course, you can continue to make this more fancy if you want. We decide, all right, black background, that's pretty boring. Let's add an image of our blurred church. And I'm going to select an image, blurred chapel. And so we just took a picture and kind of blurred it and kind of blow it up pretty big and say, all right, let's put it about there. And we'll put it all the way to the background. That's cool. Now it's starting to look a little bit fancier. Yeah, whatever. And then one of the other things that we made, just because the windows and everything look really kind of harsh edged, is two-panel overlay. Is I made a picture that's basically two frames, and so it's just a couple of boxes and everything else is transparent. And I could say, yep, let's go ahead and place this, and maybe I'll just make it a little bit small so it's not full edge to edge. Maybe somewhere around there. And then I can put select the PowerPoint and kind of put it within that frame. And same thing with my picture, my video feed here. And now, so if I have the overlay as on top, it's going to cover up any of the overflowing or whatever, and this starts to look pretty well. And again, you can build and really do whatever it is that you want to do for your setup, which is the really powerful part of this. Now, so one final piece that I'll show off, and again, you can keep playing with scenes, and I'm not going to go into a full setup and whatnot. One of the things I do want to show off is when you're doing a stream, I would make use of what's called studio mode. And when you enable this, what it does is it gives you now two previews here. The one on the right, it says this program, and that's what would be displayed in the stream. Okay. The one on the left is the preview and lets you do adjustments and make changes to things. So, for example, if I'm prepping the speaker, they're walking up to the stand right now, I will go ahead and get their name and the black bar ready to go. And then once they start speaking, I'll hit transition, and I'll go disable these, count to about 10 seconds or whatever, and then I hit transition again, and now it goes away. And so now I don't need two different sources for, do I display the text or do I not? I can completely make changes to this. So let's imagine, it's testimony meeting, and now somebody else is going up, and I'm just going to say Jane Doe is going to go speak. Okay, cool. Let me eyeball this, and let me transition it. Cool. All right, so one of the other cool things that I can do with the studio mode then, all right, let's get Jane Doe out of there. Boop. Okay. Is I can add another image here. Since OBS doesn't have this, I can add a grid overlay to this. Come on. There we go. And so this is basically just a big crosshair that lets me know if I'm center aligned. And now I can add the speaker name and title, and we could see using the center squares here, I didn't have it eyeballed very well. So I can adjust it back over. And then before I make this go live, I just remove the grid. And now when I transition, that is perfectly centered. And so you can use this grid to kind of lay things out a little bit better without having to just guess. And with using studio mode, nobody's going to see that grid. So pretty cool. Now the final piece, and I'm not going to get into the full YouTube side of things because a lot of people can still use OBS even from here for Zoom. If I were to use Zoom, what I would do is do a windowed projector, and that basically gives you the program again and a window, and then you can make this bigger, and I would screen share this. So one, you get good resolution, but also two, it makes it easy for you to screen share that, and then with it being screen shared, everybody on Zoom would see that right away. So that's how we did it when we were doing with Zoom. With YouTube Live, all you'd have to do is go into the settings, go to stream, and go to YouTube, and then once you set up your channel, you get a stream key, you put that in here, and then hit start streaming. And if you've got auto start set for your stream, by hitting start streaming here, it's going live out to your participants. Otherwise, if you don't have auto start turned on, you'll have to go to the YouTube stream page and hit the go live button. But that's up to you on which route you want to do. And then when you're done, just hit stop streaming. So OBS lets you manage everything within this one program, which just makes it super, super easy. So to wrap up, let me switch back to my full screen camera here. Where did the button go? There we go. And in this video, we talked about OBS and how to set up different scenes and sources and use things. And again, I'll put a link in the description for the various resources and overlays that we're using, but feel free to make your own. I'd love to hear what you're doing with it. If you suggest any changes or whatnot, I'm always looking on ways to improve my setup as well. And with that, hope you have a good one, and I look forward to hearing from you. Bye.